All right, let's talk about a plant that, let's be honest, you've definitely seen everywhere. It's the sneak plant, sometimes called mother-in-law's tongue, and it has become an absolute icon of indoor green space. But it's not just about the looks. This plant has a massive reputation. And there's a good reason it's so popular. I mean, this thing is famously hard to kill. It can handle low light, you can forget to water it. It's the perfect starter plant. But the biggest claim to fame, the thing you always hear, is its incredible, almost magical ability to purify the air you breathe. So what's the deal? Is this a real, scientifically proven superpower? Or is it just a fantastic piece of marketing that helps sell a whole lot of plants? Well, that's what we're going to find out. And to do that, we need to go back to a pretty surprising origin story. You see, this whole idea of houseplants scrubbing your air clean didn't just appear out of thin air. It actually comes from a very famous and very specific research paper. Yep, you heard that right. NASA, the space people. Back in 1989, they published what's now known as the Clean Air Study. And honestly, this single document is what kicked off the entire air-purifying plant craze. But here's the absolutely crucial part. You have to understand why they were doing this study. They weren't thinking about your living room. They were solving a problem for astronauts on future space stations. We're talking about totally sealed-off environments where you can't just crack a window for some fresh air. Their main enemy was something called VOCs, volatile organic compounds. Sounds fancy, but it's just the chemicals that leak out of everyday stuff, like paint, furniture glues, and even cleaning supplies. In a sealed-off little box floating through space, that stuff can build up and get dangerous really quick. And the results looked fantastic. In their little sealed lab chambers, plants like our snake plant here were total champs at sucking up nasty chemicals like benzene and formaldehyde. So, case closed, right? Plants are amazing air filters? Well, not so fast. Because this is where the story takes a sharp turn. This is the moment where that amazing promise from the lab runs headfirst into the reality of your actual home. Just think about it for a second. The NASA experiment used a small, perfectly airtight box. No air in, no air out. Your home, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It's a huge, drafty space with windows, doors, and vents. Air is constantly moving and changing. So the big question becomes, does what works in a tiny, scientific hotbox actually make any real difference in the chaotic, airy environment of your home? Well, more recent science decided to take a much harder look at this, and what they found was one critical detail that the original headlines completely missed. Here it is. It's not about if plants can absorb these chemicals. They can. The whole issue boils down to the speed or the rate at which they do it. And this quote from a major review study in 2019 really just says it all. The researchers concluded that, for all practical purposes, the rate is simply too slow to make a meaningful difference inside. So how slow is too slow? Well, that brings us to this wild number. 10 to 1,000. What on earth does that mean? It means you would need to cram anywhere from 10 to 1,000 plants into a single square meter of your home, just to get the same air cleaning effect as a normal building's ventilation system. You literally have to live in a jungle so dense you couldn't walk through it. Okay, I know, that might sound like a huge letdown, but please don't throw out your snake plants, because just because it's not a high-tech air filter doesn't mean it's useless. In fact, its real benefit might be even more important. What we know for a fact is that having plants inside has massive psychological benefits. Countless studies have proven they reduce our stress, improve our mood, help us focus, and just generally make us feel better. It's a real connection to nature that we all crave. And when it comes to getting all those amazing wellness benefits with the least amount of effort, this is where the snake plant is an absolute rock star. Take a look at this data. This chart breaks down exactly why the snake plant is such a fantastic choice. Just check out those two tallest bars right there: ease of care and pest resistance. It scores nearly a 9 out of 10 on both. So what does that really mean? It means you get all those amazing, stress-reducing benefits of having a plant in your home without adding the stress of actually trying to keep a difficult plant alive. It is the definition of a win-win. So, let's wrap this up. Will a snake plant scrub the VOCs from your air in any meaningful way? No. But will it absolutely make your space feel better, calmer, and more alive? 100%. So maybe it's not purifying the air. Maybe it's purifying your mood. And you know what? That might just be the most valuable superpower of all.